They don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. But they don't hear me though. When I hop on the beat, I'm gonna be something like an oddity prodigy. Oh my god, he be rocking these beats of modern day Socrates. I'm unlocking the lock with no key. I'm not what they thought I would be. No mockery, flocking to see my cabinet of curiosities. Twilight zone beside my bone. I'm split. I need like 5 mics on inside my dome. There's no lights on. You get what I mean? I'm by going. When I write my song, really wanna bite on like snakes. I say better yet pythons. When I write my wrong, despite how long they never wanna break or be bygones. Mind of the comic, always thinking of new material. Out of the box, the way I kill these beats is cereal. Even though the verse is hot and blasting through your stereo. They don't really hear me though. 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 They don't really hear me though.
Yeah, it's time to clocking again, hopping the wave, get to the booth, make draws start dropping again, stopping, never been no option, cause my competition been flopping again, topping the 10 best rappers coming out of my city, got them all sobbing again, plotting to win, but I got a question, when is hip-hop gonna start hip-hopping again, Haters mobbing again, shocking to see them all start flocking again. I'm gonna get the mic cocked, but I can't let y'all's blood get on my conscience again. I'd rather fuck your girl and after take the bitch shopping again. And she gonna come back knocking again, sopping wet, gotta start mopping again. Guess they never give a fuck unless I'm popping pills, sipping lean. Y'all say anything so you can cop a deal, so it seem. I've been proud of all my shit, I keep it real, being me. But if I gotta really rap, I shoot to kill, R.I.P. And they don't even know. Been giving y'all this heat, you sleeping and it really show. It's time to wake them up with shit, they make the speakers blow. But they don't really hear me though.
They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though. They don't really hear me though.
Welcome to HomeFront Sitrep. I hope you're in for a great show today, because I'm just a veteran talking about what's on my mind and maybe yours.
You can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. You can also check out HomeFront Sitrep's YouTube channel.
Buckle up, the show is starting.
Mic in hand, ready for deployment. Podcast feels heavy as the ointment. Veteran tales straight from the trenches. Pop culture splices, pulling down the fences. Homefront sit rap, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Homefront sit rep, voices from the fight. Veterans sharing dark, stepping into light. Real life saga, not some fairy tale. Truth and resilience, never gonna fail. Homefront sit rep, stories that collide. Veterans speaking truth, no reason to hide. Gritty and raw podcast on replay, decoding the past, paving the way. War zone whispers, bullets and bombs. Back to civilian ticking like a time bomb. Medals on the mantle, scars on the mind. Every episode another mystery to find. Legacy 11X, story of Marines. Army anecdotes, Gulf War scenes. Vietnam echoes, Desert Storm sounds. Podcast chronicles, glory and bounds. Homefront sit rep, honesty is core. Veterans laying bare what they endure. From the front lines to the homebound grief. Episodes of grit, grind through the grief.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Sunday edition of Homefront Sitrep. How is everybody doing? Gunny, how are you, sir?
Tired, man. Tired. It's been a long week. Yeah, trade show out in Vegas for the skydive team. A lot of work went into that. And then Friday, jumped on the plane, flew directly to DC. Woke up first thing yesterday morning. Got to Arlington around 6 a.m. Stood in line for Reach Across America. They opened the gates at 8 o'clock. But we were first through the gate, got over to the truck. And, myself and my buddy Mark, teammate Mark, we were able to lay wreaths at two of the guys that were killed in the Battle of Mogadishu. And then I was able to lay a wreath at one of my friends and mentors from 3rd Battalion, 8th Marines. Who's
Nice.
right there as well. And then just paid my respects to the other 8 guys that I served with that are buried there. And then, some of the guys and families that I've met since, just went to visit them and let the families know that we were thinking about them yesterday.
Heck yeah, man. Heck
How about
yeah.
you? How'd your manipulation go?
Dude, it went great. Of course, I was under, so I don't really remember much of it. I do remember when they did the nerve block. That was a pain in the leg. Uh, no pun intended there, but like literally, I felt it as they were digging that big ass needle down, trying to find
Yeah.
that nerve. But the knee manipulation went good. Had several days of straight PT right after that. Um, what's going on, Scott? Had several days of PT after that. On Friday, my PT, main PT guy, Miles, he's like, dude, I'm super excited about your progress. So that was a positive note. Now I go back starting Monday. It'd be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday again back at PT, and just got to keep pushing here at home.
Yeah.
I am bending it a whole lot more. So that's also a plus. And then I got to hang out with the wife and kids. And then Grace had an archery yesterday. She shot a 274. At that time, it was the number 4 score out of all 12th grade girls that was shooting.
Wow. Yeah.
So that was super cool. I don't know. I think she wound up somewhere right there in the top 10 out of 12th grade girls. And then today we did Operation Veteran Santa, which is something that we're growing. Last year we did 1 family. This year we're doing a total of 7 families. Today we had 3 families. The first one was at 11 o'clock. It was a mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. Grandpa is a Vietnam vet. So as soon as he walked out the door, when we all pulled up, he walked out. I shook his hand, said, "Welcome home. Thank you for your service." And then, we proceeded to what's going on, Rich LaMonica. Tell them why we were there. That their name was given to us because they were a veteran family in need for Christmas. Of course, there was 4 kids, age range 18 to 10, I believe, was the age range. 2 boys, 2 girls. So we got to take care of them. And then we went from there to Shelby County for a veteran family that had 2 daughters, a Marine, and his wife. They didn't even have a Christmas tree because they're struggling really hard this year. So we went there. We actually left from there and sent people to go get a Christmas tree and brought it back to them so they could put a Christmas tree up to go with the gifts. And then we went to the last family, and we had the fire, police, EMS. We had all of them there. We had a Santa. So our Santa was actually the first veteran that we had last year. He wanted to give back, so he dressed up as Santa this year. So
That's awesome.
Super, super cool, man. I loved it. And then we got 2 more families coming up on the 21st. So we utilized Marine Corps Toys for Tots. So I want to give a shout out to Cletus Evans with Marine Corps Toys for Tots in Louisville, Kentucky. We got some toys from there, plus all the donations that poured in to help support this. So each family got food, like dry good food and stuff like that, the shelf stable. Awesome. So I was super excited about that. And it's growing. Like I said, last year we did 1 family. This was our 2nd year, and we had 7 families. Next year we're looking to do 14 families next year. So we've already started planning for next year, which is super cool. Somebody said, "Well, why don't you bring the news media here, showing what you're doing?" And we're like, "That's not what we're doing. We're not doing it for that.
It's not about that."
Yeah, it's not about that. And even we would take pictures of the trailer and the gifts and stuff like that, but we never took pictures of the family. For one, we're not going to post that on social media because it don't need to be that. It just, we posted pictures of Operation Venture Santa, the people behind the scenes that made it happen. With the Toys for Tots and Carl Truman Law Office and all these other organizations that help donate to it. And it was just, man, I tell you what, I was quite blown away. And my payment was seeing the smiles on the kids' faces. You know, here they are thinking they weren't going to have a Christmas. And then you got a group of 20 people rolling deep up to your house with Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Just seeing the smiles on the kids' faces was payment enough. So super excited about that. And I can't wait to see how it keeps growing each year. Uh, so
Yeah,
but
let the families post if they want to post about it. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
get the
yeah.
word out that way. And if they want to go to the news, let them go to the news. And but either way, they're gonna have a good Christmas this year because of all the work you guys are doing.
Oh yeah. And that's what it's about. It's taking care of them, the families. Um, and the good thing is that they didn't know we were coming. That's always a plus. That's
Yeah.
when they don't know we're coming. And now we also took care of the parents as well. So we had a bunch of like gift cards, like to restaurants and stuff like that, that was given to the parents. That way the parents could go out and enjoy a nice Christmas dinner or whatever they
Yeah.
want to do with it. Uh, and we had, one organization donated like 3 grand, and we split that up and, gave it to the families and stuff like that. And just being able to give somebody a hand up and not a handout.
Yeah.
That's what
Sure.
it's all about. And it just, we're not a nonprofit. We're just a bunch of different entities. Some people within the entity is a nonprofit, but we're just a bunch of veterans getting together to take care of our brothers and sisters, and that's what it's all about. Because we talk about it all the time here on the show. The only way we're going to end that 22 is if we all
Yeah.
come together and work together, because that's the only way to make that happen. So,
Kind of like our guest tonight.
yes, kind of like our guest tonight. Yes, who happens to be a Marine. I forgot. I do remember reading that in his bio, but I did happen to forget that because we had some issues at the way back when with a scheduling conflict and stuff like that. So,
That's all right.
I
We got him
gotta
here.
ask,
We got him here now. So that's all
yeah,
that
we
works.
definitely did get him here. So, what did you think of the new intro song? And if you
Like
haven't
it, man.
watched the
Yeah,
intro,
yeah. I listened to it today because I finally got a few minutes to sit down and listen to the ones that you sent me. And I listened to them like, that's nice. And Micah was sitting in the chair next to me, and he's like, "What's going on over there? I kind of like that." So, you got the approval of the 18-year-old too. So that's
heck
good.
yeah, man, I love it. So that song was created with a AI song generator online. I just happened to go in and type in, 90s style rap, Homefront Sitrep, veteran podcast, and that's what it came up with. Of course, I have several that there were several different ones, and I played around with like different style of rap and rock and stuff like that. And that one right there, just the words, because I look before I even play the music. I go down and read the script of
Oh yeah.
what they're singing about, and I'm like, that one right there just resonates with me. I don't know why, but I liked it. And once our boy Theory comes through, I'm sure he's gonna knock something out of the park. I can't wait. So, but yeah, tonight's guest, man, we got Mr. Tim Jensen with the Grunt Style Foundation. I'm gonna pull up their website real quick. I'm super excited about the Grunt Style Foundation because they do all kinds of all kinds of things. Um,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people probably know the Grunt Style shirt and or know of Grunt Fest, the music festival that they used to put on and stuff like that, but they may not be aware of the foundation and the stuff that they do within the foundation because it is fairly new. I think 2021 is when they were founded. But helping the veteran, helping the service members, helping the families, and again helping that and the stigma of the 22 a day, and giving that hand up.
Yeah, so it was founded in 2021. It says at Grunt Style Foundation, we believe that mental health and wellness are paramount. No veteran should ever go without. We are proud to assist in military transition and sustainment, food insecurities, and housing. Grunt Style Foundation is a national nonprofit organization committed to providing life-changing resources and experiences in which veterans, service members, and their families thrive, which is what I love, because that's what we're all about here at Homefront Sitrep, is giving that hand up, not a handout.
Yeah.
So you
I mean,
guys are
we've talked enough about it. Why don't we get Tim in here and let him,
let
talk about
Tim
his
talk about
journey
it.
in the Marine Corps and his life events and what got him to where he is now, and a little bit more about the Grunt Style
Let's do it.
Foundation.
Let's do it. Welcome, Tim. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing well, gentlemen. It is good to see you guys.
Yeah, you
Well,
as
it's
well.
good to see you. So, how has your week been, Mr. Tim? We'll ask you that. That'll be our first question, an
Oh
icebreaker.
man, it's been fantastic. It's 1 week closer to Christmas, and we got aliens in New Jersey.
Nice, nice. I love it. So, we were talking a little bit offline right before we got started, and you happened to be at boot camp at roughly about the same time that Sam and I were in Paris Island. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, my friend.
Yeah, yeah. So small world, right? But that's generally the story when it comes to anything Marine Corps. I came into the Marine Corps in 1997 from Raleigh, North Carolina. So it was only a bit of a jump away to go to Paris Island. Shared a couple stories with you guys. We were in the same battalion. Everybody, first battalion. That was the best battalion we had. We were close to the Chow Hall, and
Heck yeah.
we were
Close
our
to the
drill.
parade deck.
Our drill, best in all the lands.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
But and I went into the Marine Corps, at 17 years old, much like everybody else, right? I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to go into the workplace. I just wanted to go do something different, right? And I had some military background in my family that kind of inspired me from my grandfather in his World War II days. So I went to the Marine Corps, right? I figured I was going to do something, I might as well do the best, and found myself there. I went in, did 4 years in active duty as an Amtracker. Spent most of my time in Camp Lejeune at old Courthouse Bay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Real dump of a place if you've ever been there. Then I got out. I went back to Chicago. That's where I'm originally from. All my family had moved back there while I was in the Marine Corps. So I went back, got a union job for a little while, did some stuff. That was fun. Really cool stuff. Did some really big projects in the downtown area. So I can always drive downtown and point to my children that I was involved in that project or something. That's pretty cool. But I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. I always was more of a creative person. And so I wanted to pursue that and went to college, left the union. So I was making six figures doing that, guys, and left the union. Just went to college, and there's a lot going on in between that. There's a lot of darkness, right? So lost a lot of things during that time period. So it was a good reset for me, and getting myself back into the right track, if you will. Got my degree in game theory and design. And couldn't get a job doing video games, right? I wasn't that good, but it taught me a lot of things, right? And where I needed to go from a professional side of my design and all the things I was really wanting to be. But I ended up finding a job at this place called Grunt Style, and applied for a job as a graphic designer. Didn't get that, and I was offered a job folding T-shirts, and I ended up taking that because I couldn't go home without a job to tell my wife. So started. That was a Friday. Started that next Monday, and that's it. Right from there, I just grew within the company. Went from folding T-shirts to be press operator, production manager, operations manager. I was a executive by 34 years old, and running this multi-million-dollar machine that I had really no idea what I was doing. Yeah. with a business partner that both of us were just kind of feeling our way through it all, and it was magical, right? It really was during those time periods. It was a really great time. Of the business was growing. There was every day was like something else, and it was just no end. It seemed like there was something to do every day, right? And it kept you really engaged. Um, and as we've grown, we've been really involved in a lot of different things. So like one of the very first things I was involved in goes back to 2013. And I remember we were involved with flying World War II veterans to Washington D.C. With the honor flights. And
Nice.
we were that was, if you remember, 2013 was like the 1 year anniversary of it being open, right?
Yep.
And during that same time period, sequestration happened, right? So the government's saying, we're going to shut down the National Mall. Nobody's going to be able to see the monuments. And we're like, well, that's bullshit. Like, this is like these World War II vets probably will never have the opportunity to see this again in their lifetime. Like, that's unacceptable. But they weren't, the park services weren't balking on it. And so we organized a bunch of people and ended up with like 15,000 veterans down at the National
Man.
Mall. We opened up every closed monument that had barriers in front of it, carried those to the White House, and threw them over the fence.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
that.
That was awesome, right? And that might have been the first January 6th, guys.
Right.
Oh man, but but that, I think that's important, right? That these are men and women that have given everything for their country, and you're going to shut them out of something that's paying homage to the men and women that actually gave a shit and gave their life for something bigger than themselves. And that's really what the company stood for, right? Pardon my English. And really what we do as an organization is to support our community, right? And there's years, as we've been doing this, that we've been involved in a lot of things. Hurricane Harvey, right? We sent a whole bunch of equipment, assets. I mean, I spent a significant amount of my time living in that town, working, and we rebuilt their children's center. It was incredible, but that led to the Grunt Style Foundation, where we get this opportunity now. We started in 2021, right during like the end of COVID, or the coming out of COVID. And we saw a significant amount of problems, right? I think COVID really kind of ripped the mask off a lot of things within our country. The mental health, I think importantly, food insecurities, right? I started to learn that it wasn't that I started to learn. It was a glaring fact to me that this problem still remains, because it was something that I experienced when I was in the active duty military. My buddy, I had several friends that were on food stamps when they were in young E3s, E4s, right? And it's like, why is this still a problem? Why are we having to worry about putting food on the table when we need to be like putting shots and rounds on the enemy's forehead? Like, this is insane to me, right?
Yeah.
So one of the very first things we did as a foundation is I went to Jacksonville and did a big food drive and gave a whole bunch of like $500 worth of food to Marines and their families at the base there, right? So we do. That's really the impetus of what the foundation is just a culmination of identifying all these needs that are within our community. PACT Act, legislation, like advocacy, all these things, right? We're just so underrepresented in the way that we have a voice, right? And that's something I've seen over the years, doing this. I'm almost 15 years. No, I'd say 13 years in the space, from a business person's perspective, seeing it grow, seeing it flourish, seeing the needs, and the dynamics of the space. There's some significant challenges of the GWAT individual, and now we have a voice because we've cut that voice out for ourselves, right? Like the voices of like Big Black Rifle Coffee, Grunt Style, the personalities that are creating this thing, that we now have this voice that we can have these conversations in a broader context, mostly because of technology and our ability to reach more people. But that's where we find ourselves, is this way of, I look at the veteran community as like a bonsai tree, right? And we need to, as members of it, we have to keep it clean by snipping off the ends. But we have to be very careful because there is, the fact remains that there's no there's no group that hates veteran more than another veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you, and I definitely, as you can tell, I'm wearing a Grunt Style shirt now, and I've been a Grunt Style member and a fan of Grunt Style for a really long time, and um, had the club Grunt Style for almost 3 years. I think it was roughly close to 3 years. My wife is on here; she could probably tell us if she's still watching. Um, and I love what Grunt Style stood for when it first came about. And now that you guys have gotten your foot in, you've been around for a while and you've expanded. Now you're doing the Grunt Style Foundation where I mean, I'm looking at the website right now. I mean, you guys do, let's see, um, homelessness. All right, so let's go down here. Support programs. You got deployments, which is Grunt Style Foundation deployments are small, repeatable process that distribute meaningful services and resources in support of junior enlisted service members, which you already talked about. You got the hyperbaric oxygen therapy committee. You got irrelevant warriors. You got them on here, and you guys have so many programs that you guys have launched into to help because to help veterans, and give that hand up, not a handout, because we know that some veterans take advantage of the situation. Some veterans, not saying all veterans do, but that those are the ones that give us as veterans a black eye when you got veterans out there taking advantage of the system. So, and I'm assuming you guys probably do kind of what we do when you get a veteran says, "Hey, I need this," you go in and you vet them to make sure that that veteran's legit and they're not lying and talking all about that. So let's talk about how how many people reach out to you guys on a daily,
Yeah.
and then how many people have you helped since 2021, or do you have those numbers?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question, right? Um, you know, from a business perspective at the LLC, we receive inquiries on the daily, probably anywhere to between 150 to 200 inquiries a day, just on non-business. Hey, we would love for you to ordain a marriage. We would love for you to send this to this charity. We'd love for this. We love for that. Right? We have a whole department that does that business. And it's cool, right? It just so happens that myself and another member of the team that's the people know, Dan Eric, are ordained, and we've been telling we've been marrying people on the side that we don't tell anybody. It's been great.
Nice.
That's
But
awesome.
but it's these small things, right, that really just get people really engaged. But and it's the meaningful stuff, right? Because if people are taking the moment out of their day to send you something, right, to send you a note, to send you a question, right, it's just good business to return that, right? To do your best to return that gesture through, right, just giving that time, right? And we try to do that through the business. Do we get to every one of these things? Absolutely not. It's very hard, right, to do that, right? These are all monetary investments. As much as I like to do all these things, I can't give away my business.
Right.
So, but we do manage this very well, and we take all those things that we can't do, and then we shift it over to the foundation. We see what the foundation's appetite is. Can they support any of these things? And if they can, they'll take what they can. And then anything that's not, we try to find partners in the community that can pick that up, right? Because we've created over the years a great network of friends and family throughout the nation, right? Of capabilities, right? So that's what really Grunt Style is. It's just a massive network that we've created over 15 years of veteran opportunities, right? And we've just really built that all together into the Grunt Style Foundation that focuses on those really four key things of veteran mental health and suicide prevention. And we did that by bringing, one of the most very important things and proud things that we've done lately is we brought the Reverend Warriors into our organization, right? So, if for those that may not know what a Reverend Warriors is, is a national 501c3 that goes around and does 8-mile hikes in cities across the United States. The idea of bringing veterans out from isolation into a moment of camaraderie and doing familiar things that they used to do in the military. Hiking or humping, as we call it in the Marines, used to be one of those things, right? And it is an incredibly bondful moment for those that may not understand that. I would challenge anybody that has not participated in one to find an event in a local city. There are 72 of them a year that we put on, and you can get involved very easily. And they are so fun, and they're so good for building network and, again, finding ways of keeping yourself from isolating and doing things in your community and staying integrated, right? So that's a big aspect, right, with our suicide prevention. We also have within that suicide prevention the War Cry for Change campaign that we're driving. That is a fairly recent initiative that we brought on Derek Bloomke as our veteran fellow who's driving this initiative. And essentially what we're trying to do is educate America on the dangers of selective serotonin uptake inhibitors, SSRIs. Now, I want to be very clear when I say things like this, because it's not to be construed as we are giving medical advice to people to get off of their medicine. We are not saying that at all, right? This is a responsible conversation that we are having about the dangers of these medicines and how they're being prescribed within our community and the overprescribing and misuse of those medications that are often driving to veteran suicide. That's the conversation. That's what we're trying to bring forward, because the numbers are absolutely atrocious, right? So we hear the number 22 a day, like, I don't know about you guys. Like, if I hear another 22 day awareness campaign, like I'm gonna vomit, right? Because it's not that shit ain't doing anything for anybody. We need to do more actionable things, getting involved, because the true number that we are looking at is something in the tune of about 156,000 veterans in the last 20 years have taken their life, right? So it's somewhere in the tune of around 70 something a day that are actually taking their lives. And we got a big problem ahead of us when it comes to that, because this is still largely the Vietnam generation that is involved in that this is occurring with. And when our generation, the GWAT generation, 4.5 million veterans that rotate in and out of the war, right, start sitting with our own selves in a state of retirement where we have nothing but our thoughts. There are going to be demons that need to be addressed, and if we don't get in front of that now, we are going to have a bigger problem than the Vietnam veterans. That's my opinion. That's what I'm seeing from all the work I've been doing over the years and working with this community, and really why the mental health aspects are so important to us. So some other things that we're doing around that, right? Because this is probably our largest bucket of the work that we do within the foundation. I'm a big advocate for psychedelics, right? I think that there are a lot of people out there that want to do more research and want to do all the science stuff, and I applaud them. That needs to be done, right? Because that's how we change laws in this country. But at the same time, we do not have another 10 to 15 years, because that's how long legislation takes in this country to make any sizable difference. We don't have that much time with this epidemic. We have to do things now, and by getting people engaged and aware of what these dangers are of the psychotropics that are being administered to our community is extraordinarily important. So the War Cry for Change, and all we're asking there for is, very simply, informed signatory consent. Just a conversation with the doctor. Doctor goes through your complete medical profile, sees what medicines that you're on, and says, hey, Wellbutrin and your cholesterol medicine, they don't go well together, and we probably should look at something different, because if we do this, your suicidal ideation will go up 65%. Those are the conversations that are not happening, and we need to have those conversations, right? And then, the psychedelics, right? I think psychedelics are an immediate use opportunity for veterans, first responders in controlled settings. to have access to this medicine that is life-changing. It will save the efficacy on these things on one-time administration of a psychedelic over a psychotropic and talk therapy it's astounding. It's astounding. Like, my God, like, why are we even having these conversations? If we could talk about like having this in controlled settings or in spiritual settings, like, let's remove the stigma out of this and let's get the veterans into this. Let's get our first responders into this immediately, because that will change their circumstances. It will give them a fighting chance. And more importantly, it will give them hope in a place where they're in complete desperation because they feel like there's nothing else, and they're resorting to mind-numbing, alcohol use, just drugs and all these other things to really escape the torment that is happening inside of them. So like, these are real things that we can do that can happen immediately. And we're seeing the results of that by programming that we're doing through the foundation right now. Some other areas, the hyperbaric oxygen chamber therapy, that is a huge opportunity for the veteran community, right?
Are you seeing a lot of growth in the HBOT? So
yeah,
the reason I ask is when the DoD did their study back in 2010, I was one of those guys that went to San Antonio, to Brook City base, and did that 9-week study. I was not they did a medicine and the placebo. I was the placebo, but there was growth in both, but not enough difference that they continued, the study with the medicines. Is it just the HBOT just going down and the fathoms and dealing with that is helping, or are they administering anything else with going into the HBOT?
So this is what we are doing, right? We have partnered with a group that is providing these at-home units, right? So you can, what we have noticed and understand is that when you go out to get HBOT of 1.5 atmospheric pressure, out in the civilian marketplace, you're going to pay anywhere between $250 to $400 for a dive, right? Dive session, no one's just doing one dive and like, oh man, like, oh great, I'll come back in 6 months, right? Nobody's doing that, right? We have to do anywhere between 40 to 60 dives, sometimes 80 to 100 dives, depending on what level of severity is. And plus, you're working at 1.5 atmospheric pressure, where some of the bigger tanks are a bit higher pressure, so you're going to have to do more to get those same effects, right? So that's going to be very costly, and these are not covered by insurance. So, like, again, Gruntstyle is about removing barriers so people can get access to these things, right? Because once you get access to it, then you can make the determination to yourself, is this the right form of modality for me, right? Because everybody's medical situations are different. Nobody is the same. Some people can respond greatly to HBOT while other people's do not respond, and they might respond to something different when it comes to TBI and brain damage, right? So and that's what we're saying. So some of the benefits that we've seen from the programming is cognitive increased cognitive capabilities, gray brain matter, synapses regrowth within those areas. People reducing migraines, right? So it has a lot of benefits. And again, this is the beauty that you can do this within your home, right? We deliver the unit to your house. It's about 6 feet. It's a cylinder. It's about 6 feet long. And once you're done with it, you can collapse it into like a little thing, slide it under your bed with the oxygen condenser, out of sight, out of mind, right? So you can pop that out and do as many sessions as you desire. And all we ask is that once you're completed with it, you hand it on to another veteran so they can experience the benefits of it as well, right? So that's really big for us, right? And then finally, the food insecurity program, right? The sheer amount, 1 in 3 families on active duty are well, that might have changed since the powers that be gave a little bit more shillings to the plebes on the NDAA this year. But what a RAND report that we've been working off of and identified these areas of vulnerability. 1 in 3 families are on food stamps, right? Or some sort of federal assistance for food funding. We think that's absolutely out of control. And what we've been doing is we partnered with several different organizations to provide $500 worth of food and household items for a family, so that they can, take that $500 that they would normally invest into those things and divert it to something else of their choosing. And to date, I think we have given well over 100 tons of food. So, if you're doing, the old imperial math, that's about 200,000 pounds of food to active duty military in the last 2.5 years we've been operating that program. So, we are definitely involved in a lot of things from the foundation standpoint. One thing that we are involved in, but we don't do tremendously amount too much of our time in it because of the way that regulations are. But we are advocates. Again, like we put our time into the PACT Act. We're a stakeholder in getting the PACT Act, across the finish line, which I'm very, very proud about that. Is it a perfect bill? No. But is it a bill that opened the door for us to get the things that we have a conversation with the government? Absolutely, right. That's what we need. And everybody that has some of those cancers and ailments, right? You don't have to fight for it as you're trying to get your healthcare in line or your health in line, and the most important fight, right? The fight for your life. So.
Yep.
I think those are important. And then, we've been involved in legislating on state level for decriminalization and descheduling of psychedelics. So we're a lot of things and spread very, very thin. It's a small organization. There's only really like 2 guys on payroll.
Everybody else is volunteers. I mean, I love that. So one of your programs, something that's near and dear to my heart, is veteran homelessness. Because if you go downtown the city of Louisville, there is a whole plethora of veterans that are homeless. Some choose to be, and some fell on hard times. The ones that choose to be homeless, you can only do so much to help them because they choose to be that way.
Yeah.
And then you got other veterans out there that are homeless that fell on a hard time, and they're needing that hand up to help them get off the street, whether it's Salvation Army's Veterans Program or Volunteers of America, their veterans homelessness program and stuff like that. But a lot of the things that I seen was, so you have these 90-day programs, like I was just saying with Salvation Army, Volunteers of America, and all these other organizations. When they get done with that 90-day program, let's say the veteran, had a drug addiction or alcohol addiction. When they get done with that 90-day program, there's no secondary program for them to go into. So there's third, like there's another avenue where they can, go into getting an apartment and all of that, but there's no secondary program for them to go into. So that was one of the roadblocks that I seen when I was doing all of my stuff with the veteran homelessness here in the city of Louisville. And we actually came up with a program. The organization that I was on the board of at one time, we came up with a 2-year program. So they would go through the 90-day program, get off the drugs, alcohol, all of that. Then they would come over to our site that we had, and it was going to be 29 homes, all ADA compliant. They were going to be made out of shipping containers. There was going to be a veteran community center, a chapel on site, a little business park with 5 shipping containers on the bottom and another 5 on top. And then, we had like a bank that was going to come and teach veterans how to budget their bank account. We had doctors that were going to come in and do free health screening. We had all these different businesses that was going to come in and do this. And this is all right before COVID took off. And the only thing that we needed was funding. And then COVID happened. So we kind of had to scale back the meetings and stuff because you couldn't go do stuff. I throw the quotes out there because couldn't go do stuff. And then I resigned from the organization in 2020, thinking they would continue the mission because I brought it over. Like I said, it took off like wildfire. It was a beautiful property that we had developed by Luckett and Farley, who helped design Churchill Downs. They came in and did it for free. Did the whole site plan, everything for free. amazing. And then, I resigned in 2020, December of 2020, from the organization that I was with. 2 months later, they canceled the project. And I'm like, why did y'all cancel something that could help veterans out there tremendously? Because it would have helped big time. What are some of the roadblocks um, that you have noticed dealing with like veteran homelessness in the areas that you're located in?
Um, you know, there's like that's a really loaded question, right? I think there's a lot of problems within the fabrics of our government, right? When it comes to like what should we be doing, right? And the question that we need to be asking ourselves is like, what is the line between government assistance and private and public, or and private involvement, right? So I'll use San Antonio as a great example. San Antonio has had a homeless issue for quite some time, right? And at one point it was really out of control. But they implemented a couple of years ago a different and more unique program that was really going after some of the core issues of what was causing the homelessness within the area here, and it was being driven largely by a large nonprofit that was working in collaboration with several other organizations and creating this network, right? And they started attacking the homelessness in a very different way than other cities across the United States, and leveraging the food bank and different aspects of resources, right? Because at the end of the day, like a lot of resource based, for those that are truly falling on hard times, right? And then you have the category of individuals that are just existing outside of the programming, because the traditional institutions no longer exist to support that, right? And that's a whole nother issue of where does the government involve, because they shut those programs down in the late 70s, right? The institutions and some of these homes, right? And for questionable reasons of their practices, I'm sure. But at the same time, there was nothing ever put in place to help those afflicted, other than saying, okay, we'll just make sure that we have a bigger budget for the food, the food bank, and or any public programming that we have. So there's been a really bad approach from a governmental perspective on it, right? But going back to San Antonio, through their collective private approach and the collaborations that they had put together there, they really cleaned up the problem in San Antonio. And San Antonio's homelessness was down to almost like under 2,000 homeless individuals within the city, and I believe that it peaked somewhere like 15,000 or something like that. And I'm pulling the numbers out of the back of my memory, so don't hold me to that. But
Right.
the point I'm trying to illustrate here is that San Antonio did a really, really great job of leveraging their assets to provide resources that were really attacking some of the bigger key root issues than trying to just spread band-aids and and superficially fix a problem so that the facade of the building looks great, right? And that just doesn't work. So
Yeah.
I think so that's a big challenge, right? So I think where we spend our time in the foundation, and knowing that the homelessness is layered, like with so many different things, right? The Where we spend a lot of our time is to get further upstream on those circumstances, so that we're catching those people that are falling in the hard times faster than, or further upstream than before they're at their moment of destitution, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we put a lot of our focus, and we've noticed squarely that that largely comes into those families are being put in those circumstances due to healthcare, making healthcare decisions, and food decisions, right? So
Yeah.
just everyday life decisions, and that's absurd.
No, I would agree with you 100%. I think if we can catch them before they get to the point where they lose their home, and because like you said, a lot of it does go back to like health care and stuff like that. Like if we can catch the veteran right when, you know, they're getting ready to start down that journey where they might lose their house and all of this. If we can help them before they get to that point, and by helping them, I mean giving them a hand up, not a handout, because that's giving a handout never helps. It just, like you said, puts a band-aid on it.
Yeah.
But but my thing is us as veterans, we're so stubborn when it comes to asking for help. Um, how do we um, get veterans to ask for the help before it gets to the point where now they're living on the street, or they're living in their car, they're couch surfing? Um, how do we get these veterans to reach out and say, "Hey, I need help"? I mean, that's
I think it starts before they even leave the service, because they train us, all of us, right? Tim was grunt adjacent, being an AAV guy, but they train us for war. They train us for war. They train us for war. There's no training for us to come home and truly acclimate back to society.
But
You
yeah, but
know,
I'll challenge that, right? And I did end my career as an infantryman, and the thing that I learned as an infantryman, right, is that for the most basic fire team to shoot, move, and communicate effectively, they have to ask for help. You cannot operate independently as a fire team, right? You need to work bounding overwatch with your other fire teams, to your squad, and your platoon that operates within the company level, right? And you're always working and communicating and asking for help and resources and assets to make sure that you are adjusting and hitting your mission targets, right? So when it's easy for us to do that in the military perspective, because we're mission oriented and we're trying to achieve the objective, why can't we take that same understanding and lay it on our personal life and saying, my mission is to achieve this for myself. And if I cannot achieve those things, then I need to have my battle list of what my comm channels are and who I need to reach out to and say, I'm going to call this channel when I need this help. Right. And I go down the list. Right. That's honestly, it's that simple. And when it comes to like, what is the network, right? So when we're leaving service, right, what is my network that I'm going to be moving into, right? So I have to assimilate into this new network. What does that look like? Have I done pre-work on that? What have I ad bond out there, to make sure that I've set up a beachhead for myself, so when I come with all my shit, I have a good landing, right? I'm just applying all the same shit into the private world, and you can exceed, and you're really get ahead of the competition, because you're far more organized in your thoughts and your faculties than the average individual, right? That's what the military beats into all of us. It doesn't matter what branch of the military you're in, right? It's going to be organized and mission oriented, right? So you're already set ahead of 9 out of 10 people.
I do like that we got to establish that good beachhead. And one thing that I like doing here on HomeFront Sitrep is being that connection for somebody. There's a lot of veteran service organizations out there that don't want to work with other service organizations. And like if a veteran, let's say Jonathan Cisco, who I've known for quite a long time, that just joined Chad in here, he comes up to me, and I'm running a equine therapy program for veterans, right? And he comes up and he says, "Hey, this isn't working for me." Me as the organizer, as the head of the organization, needs to say, "All right, John, what works for you?" And he says, "Oh, I want to get into race car driving." That's where me, as the founder, says, "All right, well, I got this guy. His name's Ed McLean. He runs Warriors to Racers. Let me call him right now and get you connected with him. That way, I know Jonathan is already connected with Ed. That way, I know he's taken care of." A lot of times, these veteran service organizations out there, if a veteran comes to them, all they see is the number. They focus on the number, how many veterans they got. And I'm talking more of your bigger veteran service organizations. They look at veterans as just as a number. we need, and here on HomeFront Sitrep, we try to be that that Rolodex for veterans out there. Though, so if Lacey says, "Hey, I got this," her business is they run a farm for veterans, and she says, "I need some veterans that want to learn how to do farming." We can send her some veterans her way, and we just have to work together to help establish
Well,
that
it's
community.
it's working together, understanding that we're stronger. We're stronger in numbers. I tell that gal to make sure she checks up on the USDA grants. They're writing some great grants right now for veterans and veteran farming. Okay, so any of you vets out there that want to start farming, like I want to farm. That's one fucking goal of mine. Like I'm telling you, I want to retire at 50 with a couple horses and some cattle, and just like till the land. But these opportunities exist, right? So, the other thing, and let's be serious, like there are so many things for veterans right now that you can just pick up and throw a dart at, and you can find something. So, the days of veterans saying, I didn't know. No, that's just you being lazy, and it's you playing a victim. Stop being a victim. We're not victims. We are fucking war fighters, and we go out and we change the battlefield. You can be one of us, or you can be a victim. And like, don't be a victim. That I think is the most important thing about our community, is to change the mentality of where we're at, right? This country needs leaders. This country needs people to stand up and show what right looks like. And there ain't no better community to look at than the veteran community. Now,
Yeah.
there's within the community, there's great people, then there are bad people. I'm not ignorant of that fact, but I'm also clear in the understanding that I served with some of the best humans that I've ever known. And I think those are the leaders that need to stand up and be the voice or the face for so many Americans in this country that are just looking for, what does leadership look like right now? Well, let's stand up and be counted, guys. This is our time. This is we're all looking for a mission.
Heck
Yeah.
yeah. So Lacey says, I'm a part of the USDA grants, and our lamb meat got to be a part of the local food distribution. It was super cool. Some lamb meat went to the Women Against Violence shelter.
That's
So,
badass.
so
Yeah.
that is super.
There you
super
go. There's a great example, right? It's you got to get up. You got to get in the fight, right? When we were in the military, they didn't teach you to get down low in the fighting position. They told you to improve your fighting position so you can lay down more fire, right? So let's get into the fight.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Um, Mended Sparrow, welcome. I just saw them. Mended Sparrow just jump in. They're equine therapy in Virginia. So I just want to give them a shout out. They just jumped in here in chat.
I intertwined using psychedelics and equine therapy, and I will tell you, the connections that I made with that horse was the greatest connection I have ever made with an animal in my entire life. And I will admit that I was one of those people that didn't really understand the equine therapy thing until I had that moment, and then it all clicked in for me, and I was like, my goodness, like, to have that type of reaction and experience with an animal that is so much bigger than you, that you have no control over, that has its own free will. Like,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Equine therapy, man, is super cool because once you build that bond with that animal, with that horse, that bond can never be broken. Uh,
Sure.
and the thing is, you could stop going around that horse for 2 to 3 years, and you come back, that horse is gonna know who you are. As
Yeah.
soon as you come back, they're gonna know, and that bond, because when you're working with that horse and your heartbeat syncs up to that horse's heartbeat, it's man, it's just something about working with horses that
Yeah.
it's amazing how it works. But
It
equine,
taught me it taught me to be present, right? I think that's the most important thing ever, is just to be present. That animal just made me be present at that moment in that time, and it was unlike anything ever. And it just, like, such an amazing connection.
oh yeah, Oh yeah.
And learning, like, it was such a learning moment. Like, wow.
Yeah, when you're messing with, a 2,000-pound animal, you definitely have to be present and in the moment, because if your attitude, if your demeanor changes, that horse knows. So like if you go in there and you're scared, right? That horse knows that you're scared, and
Yeah.
as soon as you start to ease up, that horse starts easing up, and the more you ease up, the more the horse eases up. It's they're so intuitive. It just blows my mind that a lot of people, are too afraid to go, to equine therapy. What's up, Mr. James Thornton? So, what else does Grunt Style Foundation have coming up in the near future for the new year?
Oh wow. I think we got some really cool things that we're doing with the Lakota tribes. I think one of the big things that I think is truly abhorrent is the way that we've treated our veteran community, right? Over the years, right? GWOT veteran is a much different veteran than any other of the cohorts in front of us, and we have a very different set of needs. And the one of the differences that I've noticed is that in previous conflicts, our Native American brothers and sisters have often been very well celebrated within their communities. Right, there was a lot of celebration of being involved in American defense. Right, celebrations of when they come back from boot camp. The tribes would bring them in. A lot of celebrations around Veterans Day, this, that, and the other. And what we are learning is that that culture is changing radically because the veterans that are going back to the reservations are not they're getting disenfranchised from the greater tribe, right? From us, the warfighters, and they're not getting the access to the VA. They're just disenfranchised. So we're working on a lot of different respects of trying to get some programs in place to get those individuals up, especially up in Allen and Pine Ridge, getting them reconnected into the VA system. We've got some programming that we're right now we're doing. You can get involved in sending Christmas gifts to the members of the Lakota up there. It's a horrible situation that they're involved in. With the poverty and all the things on there. But the idea is to really bring back the pride of the Native warfighter, right? Because that is the first warfighter of America. And if we can bring some pride back into that area, we can bring pride amongst the tribe in general, in totality. So we're going to be doing a lot of work with the Lakota, and we're super excited about that. Integrations, we got a lot of integration programming that's coming up. So these are 3-day events. Where we are we're bringing all these different partners that are involved in alternative modalities of healing, right? So if you want to learn about cannabis and hape, right, and how those ceremonial things can, help you with meditation, how to do, sound bowls, sound healing, things of that nature, deep meditation. This is a 3-day workshop. We just had one in September, went over extraordinarily well. We had about 300 people come out for that. And sleep in cabins. It's like an adult summer camp. It's pretty wild.
Heck yeah.
And we had a sweat lodge at that event as well. So you get some spiritual healing that comes along with all the other stuff. So we got that. We got a lot of food deployments that are happening. Reverend Warriors is going to be coming out strong next year with their list of cities that we'll be going through. So there's always ways of getting involved. In any city across the United States. War cry for change. Really, that's where we see the biggest opportunity of really getting the veteran community behind this initiative of informed signatory consent. Right? If we can do something as simple as just having that conversation with our primary care providers when they're administrating these things, we could save lives. And I'll use an example of my dear friend. He took his life about a little over a year and a half ago. and it really sad because he went to the VA with the hopes of quitting smoking. Right, the VA puts commercials out saying, if you're a veteran and you want to quit smoking, we have smoking cessation classes. Come to us, we'll take care of you. Right. Well, he did, and they gave him Wellbutrin, and within a short period of time later, he had taken his life.
Mm.
So that's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And we demand better. We have to do better, right? And for many reasons, right? I could think of a couple right off the top of my head. One being national security, right? If we are, you could tell the health of a country by the way they treat their veterans. And we've done a very good job of making sure that we never spit on a veteran again like we did in Vietnam. But we have done and we've also done a very good job of saying, thank you for your service as I step over your homeless ass sitting on the side of the street. So, I think we can all do a little bit more. It doesn't necessarily have to be directed at veterans, but I think in our own individual agencies and faculties, we could do more in our communities. We can get involved more with our neighbors. And we can just be better as a country, right? Because I think that that's really what we're all looking for, right? We're looking for a place that we can be proud of. We're looking at neighbors that we can rely on, and we're looking at places that we can raise our children. And that's what Grunt Style stands for. That's what Grunt Style is really all about. And I think we all have a part to play in that. And if you're willing to engage in that, we have a tent for you, and we'd love for you to party with us at Grunt Style. Sam, you mentioned it was funny early in the beginning here. We thought you mentioned the Grunt Fest. There were some great times with the Grunt Fests over the years, and during them times, I feel like we brought a lot of people together and we celebrated a culture.
So I belong to the team that jumped into Grunt Fest 5 in Colorado Springs. I was on the ground as the ground safety specialist as my guys were landing at the Boudad's beach house right there on the volleyball court. So I was out there for that one. That was a good job. Good time.
Nice. I myself and my business partner, we made a point before the doors opened on that Grunt Fest that we shook every person's hand in line, and I swear it was like 4,000 people that we went down.
Holy cow!
It was huge. It was huge.
Yeah,
heck yeah. So we had a question, Miss Lacey Peterson. She said, "Are you doing some work here in South Dakota with the Lakota?"
Yeah, we are working with the Oglala. There's some work so if you go to the Grunt Style Foundation website, I believe there's some links there that will point you in a direction of specifically how to get engaged with the work that we're doing in the Lakota there. We're also doing some work with the medicine men. Got some really cool things that we're excited about that we'll be sharing later this year. What we're doing there. And, this is again, this is all about mental health. It's all about freeing ourselves from our own mental health challenges, and getting access to bigger things. So I'm super proud of the work that we're doing there. We got to myself and a few members of the foundation of the team. We've been doing Sundance up there with them, and they've asked us to participate in Sundance. So we've been inside the circle and been part of the whole ceremonies, and it's some incredible stuff.
I love it. So I just put the link to the website back in the chat, and it's also scrolling across the bottom of the screen here. Is there anything that we haven't hit on that you want to hit on?
I think at the end of the day, we've talked a lot, but and I don't think we've left any stone unturned. I think the biggest thing that I can impress upon everybody is, we've got a big problem with suicide, and it's going to be a bigger problem if we do not get on top of it. Hey, Lacey, we will be at Sturgis again this year, and then from Sturgis goes right into I believe Sundance, right? No, Sundance then Sturgis. So we'll be there for some time up in that area. Hit me up on social media, Gruntstyle First Sergeant. you DM me and I'll get you connected. Or anybody else that wants to get connected that's up in that area. We do, it's incredible work. I'm really, really proud of it. I would ask anybody that wants to get involved with the Grunt Style Foundation. Again, it's, there's a bounty of work. Myself and the executive director, we're heading up to North Carolina this week to do site surveys with General Flynn and a few other individuals about bringing water treatment equipment into the facility because the water table is just so fucked.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no shortage of things that you can get involved in. We will be actually standing up a CERT team with the Grunt Style Foundation, emergency response unit. With the ability of the Grunt Style Reverend Warriors having people all over the country, it makes sense that we can stand up little emergency response units because what we saw in North Carolina in the early days of Helene was special forces, retired special forces guys living in that area, running operations and pulling their own friends and family off the hills. Right. Yeah. So there's no better people than to do emergencies in the local community. So we're going to really put a lot of attention there. And again, I'd say, if you guys are interested in doing any of that, we have a lot of work to do and we need as many hands and friends as possible.
So there's a Marine Corps captain, Garrett Biss. You were talking about bringing in safe drinking water. He's down in New Bern is where he lives, at New Bern, North Carolina, so right outside of Jacksonville. He has a nonprofit that travels to third world countries to provide safe drinking water. Maybe that's somebody that you can get connected with.
Yeah, please.
And partner with. And so what I'll do is I got your email. I'll connect you and him together. That way you guys can maybe talk about connecting and seeing how he can help support you and you guys can help support him in that mission as well. So I think that would be a great connection for you and him to get together, especially if you're taking, safe drinking water here on American soil. I think that's something that probably needs to be looked at more so than third world countries, but that's just because I'm an American. We got to take care of us first before we take care of the world's problems. Yeah. So,
and the only way that we're going to do that, my friends, is by getting up and doing it. Our politicians are not going to do it for us. They're going to continue to send billions of our dollars off to countries that mean no fuck all to us at all.
Yes, sir. I would agree with you 100%. We definitely will have to take care of ourselves. And it's going to take all of us veterans to start a grassroots movement that will make the government say, hey, this is something we need to focus on, because you can have your little pockets of veterans. Well, this needs to be changed, but it's not going to happen until we all get together and form a big collective to make a change happen. So
1 second, bedtime in the Jensen house. Gotta get my boy a kiss tonight, sir.
Nice.
Good morning. Good night, Dad. Bye-bye.
So yeah, we definitely have to we all have to come together, and I'm all about making those connections. I know Sam is as well. As like-minded veterans, we have to come together to make a change, and it's gonna start out small. It's gonna be like a snowball coming down that hill. It's just gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until that changes there, and that's what it's going to have to take. So man, I definitely appreciate you coming on here and hanging out with us. We got to wrap it up. We got about 10 minutes left to wrap up here, but if you want to hang out in the green room where me and Sam is going to wrap it up real quick, and then we're going to do some more talking right afterwards, if you got time to hang out for a little bit for us to wrap it up here real quick.
Sure thing. I'll hang out for a few, my friends. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate the listeners taking the time to listen a little bit about our work, and I hope to see you guys out there on the field.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you again for coming on here, and I'm just so it was an honor to meet you and finally get you up on the show to talk about the Grunt Style Foundation and everything that you guys are doing. And I love your mission, and if I can support you in any way, that's what we're going to do at HomeFront Sitrep. So thank you again. And Semper Fi, by the way.
Semper Fi, fellas.
All right, hold on. All right, Mr. Sam, what do you think about that, brother?
Man, they're doing some great things. We got some great things coming up, and looking forward to see what they have moving into 2025 in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where they're going to go. Because I mean, they started in 2021, and they've already touched so many people since 2021, and the only way up is up.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited to see, what they're going to do. Um, I'm Lacey. I need to get with you because I want to have you and your husband on the show to talk about your farm. So me and you need to get together soon and get your episode scheduled for January. So shoot me a private message, Lacey, if you don't mind. Um, or just email me at homefrontsitrep@gmail.com. That way we can get connected and um, get you up on the show. So, no, I'm super excited about, the Grunt Style Foundation. I mean, they're very, very like-minded to me, very like-minded to
Yep.
you, and a lot of these people that we have on our show, where we all have to come together to make a change. And it starts out locally. I mean, you're welcome, Lacey. It starts locally in my county, your county, Tim's county, Lacey, where she's at, where my mom lives. It's going to start. You have to start out local, and we're slowly getting more veterans into political offices. Now, if you want to change in your local area, then you need veterans within your local government, uh, and then state government from there, and then national government to help make these changes. And there's a lot of civilians out there that don't understand what we as veterans, to break that stigma that we're broken, because we're not broken. Yes, we have our issues and our demons, but we're not broken. We're still
Yeah, but you
fully
know what? They
capable.
have their issues and their demons too, right?
Yeah,
We talked, I said something the other day that somebody's like, oh, I wish I won, the Powerball. I'm like, you just have different problems than you do now.
yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. Everybody that you walk by on the street is dealing with something.
yeah, yeah. So I tell my wife all the time that I wish I hit the Powerball or Mega Millions. She goes, "What would you do with all that money?" I said, "For one, I'd pay off all my bills, my mom's bills, my sister's bills, family, and then the rest of it I would donate. I don't need it.
Yeah.
It's not that I need it. I would put it into veteran charities. I would do all. I would build a community for homeless veterans. I mean, that's something that's always been near and dear to me is helping getting homeless veterans off the street and giving them that hand up, not a handout. And teach veterans, how to survive on a budget, and do all of this. That's something that needs to be done. Like me and you've talked about, we didn't have the training classes and courses when we got out of the military. It was, you had 2 weeks to once you got your med board, you're 2 weeks to get out.
Yeah.
Me, I think I might have had a 1 day class, maybe. I can't remember, it was so long ago, but um it's just one of those things, man. We all have to come together to end uh, all the issues that are going on. And that kind of plays into this right here, Sam. This one is you right there.
Yeah. You're not alone. Don't let your dark days win. You still have worth. You still have value. There's somebody out there that still loves you. Push forward every day, one foot in front of the other. Keep your head up. And if you need help, ask.
Yeah, definitely. And then this right here, hashtag be someone stranger. We as Americans, us as humans, we're going to talk to a complete stranger before we talk to the ones that we love the most. So hashtag be someone stranger. And what I mean by that is be an ear for somebody. Don't try to fix them. Just listen to them. And then you have to ask that next hard question. Because I can walk up to Sam and say, hey, Sam, how you doing today? Sam's response is,
I'm all right. I'm okay. I'm living the dream, hanging in there. Pick any of them.
but in reality, Sam is still dealing with his demons inside. So that's why you have to ask that next hard question. Hey, Sam, how you really doing? And then you have to be ready for that conversation. Could be a 5-minute conversation, could be a 2-hour conversation, could be a 10-hour conversation. You have to be ready for that conversation and be present to listen to the issues at hand. And if it's something that, at the end of that conversation, it's something that you can do to possibly point that veteran in the right direction if he's needing that, or if just talking to you is what he needs, then that's what you can go with. Um, so let's play this little commercial here. It's a BetterHelp commercial, and it hits on everything that we as veterans we lie to people on a day-to-day basis, and they write it up here on their board. And so let's play that commercial real quick. Today during Operation Veteran Santa, I had people walk up to me, "Hey, how you doing today? How you doing?" And for one, I was in pain because I forgot to take pain meds before I left the house for my knee, and they're like, "How you doing?" Man, I'm okay. I'm hanging in there. Even though I literally was just hanging in there, but with everything else that's going on, my wife was at her mom's house, and her garage door came off track. Here I'm in Shelbyville, and she's in Shepherdsville, which is 45 minutes to an hour separating the two. And my wife is freaking out because her mom, all of her mom's stuff is in the garage, like 40 years of like her parent stuff. And and I'm like, how are we gonna get this fixed? Luckily, my wife will tell you, I know a little bit of everybody, and then James that was with me, he knows a little bit of everybody. So luckily we got somebody to go there to get the garage door fixed, so my wife wasn't stressing out over that. And it's just one of those things. You have to adapt and overcome some days, and some days it just gets you. So yeah. And then if you're a veteran out there and you're in the process, ooh, hey, what's going on, Miss? Is it Mr. Kane or Mrs.
Kane,
Kane?
yeah, Mr. Kane, Virgil Kane.
Greetings from Manchester, England. Welcome. Thank you for coming on and watching the show. That's super cool to have our brothers and sisters from across
It's
the
like
pond.
1:30 and over there too.
I know, right? So if you're a veteran and you're looking to file for your disability, or if you have you want to get a second opinion, or you just have questions about it, you can reach out to Monica Sanford. She's one of our partners here on Homefront Sitrep. She's a nurse practitioner. She's been married to a lieutenant colonel, retired United States Marine Corps, for 35 plus years that they've been married. And she's amazing. She's partnered with us. If you have questions, if you're just now starting your process, or you just want a second opinion, you can email her at askmonica0@gmail.com, and she will get back to you relatively quickly. She's pretty fast at responding. Usually within the first 6 hours or so, she is responding. So let's play that commercial real quick. Man, I just love that beat. I just love that. I wish that was my life, that beat, because it's just so upbeat. And then tomorrow's guest, man, I tell you what, we have a great guest coming on tomorrow. Sam, do you want to talk about tomorrow's guest?
Yeah, tomorrow we got Richard Fuller, former Army. he is the current president of what is now Warrior Honors Cruise. It started off as Purple Heart Cruise, and then there were some issues there with the military of the Purple Heart, and they moved to Combat Wounded Cruise. And then the founder of that decided, after 10 years that they were going to be done. So Richard and a couple of the other guys that are Purple Heart recipients decided they were going to take over the organization. They did a rebrand, did a rename. So I'm very excited to have Richard on tomorrow, talk about Warriors Honor Cruise, what they're doing, and how they honor and empower our Purple Heart recipients.
I'm excited to learn more about it. Just talking with veterans and hearing their stories of their reason, their why. It just blows my mind.
And I
Because
think Richard's story is very, very impactful, from where he was on his first Purple Heart Cruise to where he is now as the president of a Warrior Honor Cruise. So, I'm excited for everybody to hear about his life events and his life story for sure.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man. As you can see, scrolling across the bottom of the screen is reachacrossamerica.org/radio. HomeFront Sitrep is a proud partner with Reach Across America Radio. You can find HomeFront Sitrep there on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern on Reach Across America Radio. So it's in the Audacity app, the TuneIn app, Our Heart Radio. You can search the word Wreath, or you can go to that link right here, which is the listen live link right here at the bottom, reachacrossamerica.org/radio. And you can find HomeFront Sitrep there on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern. Let's play that video real quick. Hey, it's Willis. Join Candace and I from HomeFront Sitrep on Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern on Reach Across America Radio. You can find Reach Across America Radio on the iHeartRadio app, the Audacity app, and TuneIn app. Search the word Wreath. Yeah, so you can search the word Wreath on the iHeartRadio Audacity app or TuneIn app. Mr. Virgil Kane has a question. He goes, my friend was a Marine in the Falklands War. He is currently homeless. Does that happen there? Does that happen here in America? Is there such thing as homeless veterans? Yes, sir. There's a whole bunch of homeless veterans here in America. Unfortunately, some veterans choose to be homeless, and then some veterans fall on a hard time and unforeseen circumstances and causes them to become homeless. And that's something that we as a world, as a humans, is something that we need to fix, for sure. So, but it is that time of the night, Sam. I can't wait for tomorrow's show. Today we had a great episode with Mr. Tim Jensen from Grunt Style Foundation. Their website is right here. Let's see, where'd it go? Gruntstylefoundation.org. It's scrolling across the bottom of the screen right now, so go check them out. There is a donate button on there. There also is a contact down there as well. If you want to get involved and volunteer with Grunt Style, you can do that. I know here in Kentucky, they just started IW Kentucky, which I'm super excited about. Hopefully one of these days my knees will work with me and I can start getting more involved with IW. I'm super, I love their mission and what they do. So
break out those silkies.
Yeah, break out the silkies. I think my wife would have a friggin' heart attack if she saw me in some silkies, bro.
Man, I got mine upstairs. I got some red, white, and blue ones upstairs.
Nice. But like we always say on HomeFront Sitrep, stay safe out there, and we got your six.
Got your six.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.
Suggestions and comments are always welcome.
Cannot wait to have another great show with y'all.
Don't forget you can find HomeFront Sitrep on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Stay safe out there. I got your six.